University Small Farm Expo Day. Um, my name is Dr. Matthew Blair. I work as a plant scientist in the Department of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, and my talk today is about the use of new and rediscovered crop options for Tennessee farming, including grain amaranths, cowpeas, and mung beans. My role started in Amaranth as a Rodale Research Institute breeder. I've also been a bean breeder in South America, and I'm now a professor here at TSU working on the crops I've mentioned, their genetic diversity, and marker-assisted selection for crop improvement. The outline of my talk will be to start with amaranth germplasm, discussing two different collections you can see there, and then moving to grain legumes, including cowpea and mung bean. This project, funded by Evans Allen, was on the development of a grain amaranth breeding program for Tennessee with students including Ranjita Thapa and Matthew Edwards. Amaranth is a plant with a good harvest index. Usually it has large purple or yellow or green seed heads, but small individual seed that you can see in the bowl to the right. The flower can droop or it can be upright. It can be used to make a gluten-free bread that is high in protein and also makes sweets and snacks. One is popular in its origin from Mexico. The germplasm screening that we've done has been with Seed Savers Exchange. This has included varieties developed at Rodale, where I used to work, before coming to TSU, and also from the USDA, which has a collection of both advanced lines and land races from all over the world. Our field experiments included randomized complete blocks, which I will be showing in a video of our fertilizer experiments. We always use from 2 to 4 repetitions. We've used for screening of germplasm no fertilization and no pesticides, and our rows are usually 5 meters long. The plots are made of 3 rows and they're separated by 15-inch spacing. We are now using direct field planting, and we burn down to make a sterile seed bed before doing this planting. We harvest by hand, depending on the material, at 4 or 5 months, and we dry this harvest, which is a seed head, for about 1 week in a hoop house. We have yield traits that we measure from this. The types of seed are represented here. As you can see, they're small seed, usually yellow or cream in color, and sometimes gold, with a few that are dark brown or black. And those seeds that are black seeded are usually vegetable types, while the cream and gold seeded types are used for the bread. We have done transplantation from greenhouse starts, and this just shows how amaranth starts as seedlings in the greenhouse. They are ready for field transfer, usually after about 3 to 4 weeks of growth, and even if they're flower based on early production, they can still be transplanted in about June. When they're transplanted, they're spaced at about 10 inches apart, and we will grow 3 rows, and as I mentioned, 4 replicates, and you can see the different color genotypes of red and green leaves when we are doing screening of amaranth. In the foreground are cowpeas, which we use to measure how tall the amaranth is getting. We also grow another fast-growing bean called mung bean, and this gives us a measure of the uniformity of the field experiment with amaranth in the background, as we can compare the height of the amaranth to the legume. In Nashville Agricultural Research and Extension Center soils, we get good uniformity, and you can see the 3 rows of a yellow seeded material on the left and a red flowered material on the right, with good uniformity and an overview of the field experiment comparing to both corn in the background and mung bean in the foreground. We see diversity in the types of stems with green and red. We see diversity in the types of flowers with green leaves and either orange or yellow panicles. We can also see red panicles as seen in the lower part of this brochure, and we've made available some extension brochures that describe recipes and advantages of growing amaranth as a row crop in Tennessee. I hope you can join me to see the field where we will discuss and have a question session on amaranth and its dual use both as a vegetable and as a grain source. When used as a vegetable, it's often cooked just like spinach would be, and it's become popular with immigrant populations in Nashville. For more information, you can reach us at Tennessee State University and request an online version or e-version of these pamphlets. Moving on to the grain legumes, these are important food crops and fit into different seasons depending on how long they take to grow. We have dry beans. They usually can be grown 2 crops per summer. We have purple hulled pea, or the southern pea, also known by its common name, cowpea. And we have mung bean. Mung bean is the newest of these crops and probably the most heart healthy and nutritional that is available, as well as being drought tolerant and early with high biomass, just like soybean. We think that mung bean can be a breakthrough grain legume crop for this whole region in the southeastern U.S. In our legume breeding program, field planting and seed testing, we have a 4-row planter and a small plot harvester, and we use that on cowpeas after they've dried down, usually after frost in November. We've done variety trials with cowpeas from the company Seedway, and this shows the advantages to the top pick variety and the relationship of yield to water use efficiency, which is a value under drought. We also have a diversity of seed classes in cowpea, much more than we would have in amaranth. And these are some of the seed types in the USDA collection, from brown to dual color shaped, sort of like Jacob's goats. We've researched powdery mildew with the plant pathologist Margaret Mbaga, and we've evaluated this in our greenhouses, which unfortunately were destroyed by the tornado. They won't be part of the tour this year. We've also worked with people in the University of Georgia because a present threat to the cowpea is the curculio weevil, which is found in South Carolina and Georgia and is moving northwards towards Tennessee and has been spotted also as far north as Missouri. So there's germplasm screening needed to discover resistance to this evil. Just to compare mung bean and cowpea, we had visitors actually from one of the immigrant populations, and we had 2 rows of mung bean, 2 rows of crowder peas, and 2 rows of red clay peas compared to dry beans. And we can see that all the vigna species, including mung, crowder, and purple hulled peas, are later maturing than the dry bean. We've made extension brochures and promotional material on cowpeas, on mung bean, and on a related bean that is red in color. We've also described a vegetable type of cowpea, which is the yard-long bean. It's surprising the number of dishes that can be made with beans, and mung bean especially is low in fat and easy to process, forming polentas that can be mixed with corn or with rice, and Chinese cakes that are made from mung and which will be green in color because of the green coat that mung bean has. Rice bean is a bean that is red and has also high digestibility, high protein, and low fat. It can be modified into jellies that can be used in desserts or porridges served with rice and even as ice creams. And of course, cowpeas is a favorite of the South with hop ingestion, something that we hope will bring a luckier year next year. Thanks very much for your attention, and if you have any questions, please use the chat or any of the small farm expo methods that are recommended by the program. Thank you very much. This has been Matthew Blair at Tennessee State University with grain amaranths and grain legumes.